Hi, I'm Foodie, and I'm host of the Nerd Fringe. On today's episode, we will be giving you another what if of sorts. These are the episodes where I tell you another version to one of the series finale of one of your favorite shows that had a terrible ending. An ending that actually happened in a different way in a different universe. Although in this case, it will be way different. It will be an unheard of story with familiar characters. As I've explained a few times before, I come from a place where you get channels from every other universe. So we get to see not just the ending of a show in our universe, but we can always look for another ending if we didn't like the ending from our universe. Pretty great, isn't it? Today we're doing something a little different. I'm going to tell you not a different ending of a show or story you have heard before, but a story yet untold in this universe. A story that may never appear in this universe, but one that is unheard nonetheless. This story is based on a comic book you may or may not know about. It's a story based on the Infinity Gems. The gems were once an all-powerful being that existed before anything and everything else. A being that was alone. An eternal existence of loneliness. That is how it began, and this is the ending in one of the many universes that this story came out in. And in the darkest days of the Marvel Multiverse, after months of fighting and trying to defeat a creature that could not be stopped or even slowed down, when no superhero was powerful enough, and when no villain had the power or the cunning of mind to find an escape or even a soul worthy enough to sacrifice. When space began to warp and reality began to rot. When the time that once was and one day be had run out for any and all plans for any hero or villain in every existence. There came an echo from nowhere and from everywhere at once. A sound that no one had ever heard. An echo which Galactus, he who existed before this universe, did not even know. An echo which no watcher, those who see every reality, had never heard mentioned. An echo which no elder or even those that came beforehand could recall ever encountering prior to this very moment. An echo that filled everyone in all the universe of every reality with chills of loneliness, sorrow, and fright. An echo that was less than sound, but more than a feeling. An echo that was less than sound, but more than a forgotten memory. More than a light breeze on one's face on a warm summer day, and even more than a second wind after a long run. It was alien, yet it was as familiar as family, and as connected as the stardust in us all. An echo that cried out from the gems when they were being chewed up. Those ancient gems that were of a time before existence, of power unparalleled to any other. The powerful and almost indestructible infinity gems that were assumed somehow destroyed. Assumed destroyed because of the shreds that were found in the last confrontation with this new enemy that had begun devouring time itself from the end of time backwards to the beginning. An enemy that had come to the present in the form of a familiar face, that of Peter Parker, as a devious trick to find that which it thought could oppose him. In truth, it was right. The gems were eventually used against it, but they failed. When used a second time as a focusing and magnification device of all the power shot through it by those who considered themselves friends aligned with those they considered enemies for one last battle against this impostor. Something even worse happened. The enemy, which had by this time morphed into its true shape and was only known from ancient predictions as a hungry shadow that would consume time itself. It absorbed all the power meant to destroy it and started growing stronger. But it didn't stop there. It took the gems that had enhanced all those powers fired towards it, and the creature not only grew stronger, but then it started eating those very same gems. He chewed them with such ferocity that each bite sent surges of power through the interdimensional barriers of this universe to every other reality that ever was. That was until one by one, each and every gem cracked and broke under the power pressed upon them with every bite until finally this dark shadow spit out the shreds of the gems as if they were no more than sunflower seeds. Each gem letting out a light that the shadow consumed, all except the soul gem. The soul gem lasted longer under the forces placed upon it, but in the end it too cracked. But unlike the rest, the dark shadow could not break it entirely. So it consumed the cracked gem that was leaking out some of the light the other gems had given up so much easier just a short time before. It consumed every shred until it had disappeared inside him and the light had faded. None of the gems were ever truly understood, even by those who thought they had all the knowledge. The soul gem, the gem which was understood far less than all the others, its true uniqueness unclear to any who had ever seen it. It was this gem that changed the course of everything that was to come. That was because it was not just one of the infinity gems, but because it was the dream, the hope, the soul of that which not only was, but that which believed in the need to connect in the way that would one day be called friendship, family, love. When all the hope was lost, this gem might have cracked as hope itself sometimes seems to do. But it also did more. When the darkness consumed the leaking gem, it drew in the light the other gems had given up and let out. When all the light that was from all the other gems entered the soul gem, they combined and grew and changed in color, and slowly started getting brighter. No one noticed at first, but after a few seconds, those that stood against this dark shadow noticed that it had stopped, seemingly perplexed about something which became evident gradually as the remains of the soul gems took in the leaked power and combined with the others. Soon they could see something in the darkness, in the hungry shadow itself. An ever-changing color of light spinning and interacting as if alive. The light started forming a shape and separated from the monstrous creature. Once fully separated, the hungry shadow took off at immeasurable speed, as if scared of what was coming. Seeing the creature's reaction to the light stunned both the heroes and the villains that had come to save existence. They backed away slowly as the light grew larger and larger, and as the light continued to take shape, morphing and twisting. Everyone felt a sudden presence upon them, as if they were being looked at and studied from every direction. The light started turning into many of the alien forms that were present, until it seemed to settle on a humanoid form. The shape of the light became more defined, but only the outline of its shape became solid. The rest remained a transparent light. Then it stopped time itself and began reversing it until those that it had scanned while backing away had returned again. The creature did not return with them when time restarted, but they were frozen in place, forced to stare at it, and in their minds it spoke. You have many questions. I have many more answers, but time is short for even me. I am of an age long ago, before substance, before time, anything of everything. I was alone. I was everything because there was nothing more. I existed for a time uncounted. Everything was emptiness. For a time I simply existed until I became self-aware. Then I spent countless more time exploring my awareness until I realized I was alone. Never did that matter until I became aware of it. Then it seemed to consume me. The fact that nothing else existed but me was okay for a time. But after time, I wanted something else. Something that didn't exist yet. Something that you would now call a connection. Be it family, friendship, love, or even an old enemy. I wanted not to be alone. My loneliness consumed me until I could take no more and exploded across nothingness. Eventually, it would create this universe and many others. I was not destroyed, but simply separated into different parts. Yet I was still vaguely self-aware, powerless. But I was for the first time experiencing something new, something being born. Then more things began being born. Galaxies, planets, different species. Even the tiniest life was pleasing to me. I was no longer alone. I was aware of everything, everywhere, and I knew every speck of dust, every name of everyone that ever was. I've seen life grow and create things on its own, music, art, food, and so much more. I have also seen it die. And as sad as that part was, I knew that at least most were not as alone as I was. The universe itself has been destroyed many times over, yet I knew it would always be reborn. For everything trying to destroy it, there was something trying to protect it. I didn't plan on ever reforming, but circumstances were beyond my control. And this creature is the Galactus of universes. As Galactus eats planets, this creature eats entire universes, then moves on to the next. He has consumed more universes than there are grains of sand on every beach on every world put together. This creature has fought against almost every possible version of any of you, any version of any protectors of any universe, and it has never been stopped. It has never been slowed down until today, when it ate something that disagreed with it. Me. From one of the ships came a communication. We have met a version of you. It looked different, but it was formed when the gems came together before. Even your power doesn't come close enough to match this creature's power. Yes, I'm aware of what you speak of. That was me, but at the same time it was not me. Part of me has formed before, but it was mostly just my ego. That was only a fraction of me and my power. Nothing in comparison to what you see now. This creature would have slowly grown and eaten away at every inch of this universe, never letting anything to be born again. When it began to eat that which he called the gems, it accidentally caused me to reform. Its mistake. Anything with enough power to destroy the gems was too powerful for you to stop. And I don't want to be the only thing in existence again. I will not be that again. Not ever again. It only ran because it was surprised about its food coming to life. But it will be back, and it won't run away so quickly next time. In fact, I can sense that it's coming back now. I'm not as powerful as I once was. I may never be that strong again as long as everything that came from me still exists. But I'm okay with that. There's more to existing than just power. And even though I'm stronger than it is endured more than I. I've had no substance for countless births and deaths of universes. I've dealt with no struggle or challenge. It, on the other hand, is a fighter, and the fight between the both of us will destroy not only galaxies, but probably any universe we are in. I will find it before it gets here and take it into a void where there is nothing for it to eat, nothing it can use to grow even stronger than it is now. An empty and burned out universe where even if it wins, it could never escape. You will never see either of us again. But from this beast, this universe and every other shall be safe. I wish I had more time to talk with all of you. After so long of just watching to now being able to interact is a dream. One I never believed I would have the pleasure of having, and one I will never forget. But it's time for me to go. It's time for me to save the dream so that it may live on and become more than I could have ever imagined. If I survive, I will be too weak to come back, but I will at most be watching my dream. My children, farewell, and may you live long and prosper. And before another communication could be formed and sent by anyone in the ships, a dark and hollow feeling came over them. As the creature approached, the newly formed being turned around, and without a word, in a brilliance of light that was seen throughout existence, both vanished. For ages there would be stories of that day, a day wherein the furthest reaches of the darkest corners of the universe that light reached, and with it came hope, hope that would ripple for ages to come. I hope you enjoyed this story. Be sure to share it with your friends and remember to come back to listen to more tales from another verse.